today I think the only one takeaway we found initially was that mentorship and role of advisory really needs to be differentiated. You know, so it appeared initially that the expectation was, okay, we have this problem, how do I solve it? You know, that's more of an advisory role, not a mentorship role. And I think over a period of time, as everybody got into the program, it was very clear. And I believe that the program, what we saw today, was the graduation ceremony for that, and I think it came out really well at the end of the day. Clearly, one of the things that happened when we discussed the program, I said to Vishwas, okay, this is going to take some investment. You know, it's going to take a lot of money, and so as it turns out, we talked to Suhasini, and UKTI was very kind to sponsor this. And that brings me to my next point, which is to introduce Mr. James Bryce, who is the Deputy Director India for UK Trade and Investment. He's based out of Mumbai. He has, I mean, if I go through his resume, it'll probably take me a long time to describe everything he has done, but all I can say is he's got a very impressive list of things he's done, including he was the Deputy Consul General in Guangzhou in China. And he has been heading the UKTI since 2012, very recently now. But as when we discussed this whole project with Suhasini, one of the things that came out very quickly was UKTI essentially fosters trade between UK and India. In the process, they foster also entrepreneurship and innovation, which lines exactly with what TiE stands for. So we really want to thank UKTI for sponsoring this event, and I would like to invite James to come and share his thoughts on this with us. Thank you very much, James.
First thing I should say is thank you very much for that extremely warm welcome, and I'm very pleased for the opportunity to be here this evening. I'm Deputy Director of UKTI India. I found myself at the coffee break standing next to a gentleman in an open neck shirt and a pair of jeans, very smart, and here am I in a suit and tie. And if you'd been shown a photograph and said, guess, one of these guys is an entrepreneur and the other one works for government, I sort of think you'd have guessed. My objective, always be clear about your objective, is to persuade you that as you grow your businesses and think about going global, you'll hear strange things about the US and Germany and China and all these other places. I want to encourage you to think of the UK and building on Suhasini and her team, all their excellent work here in Pune. I want you to go away at least with some thoughts about how UKTI can help. UKTI stands for UK Trade and Investment. We're the bit of the British government machine. It's joint between the Trade Ministry and the Foreign Ministry, the bit that helps develop international trade, both into and out of the UK. We are equally interested in both directions. The UK-India trade relationship is a very significant trade relationship for the UK. The last completed financial year, the figures in 2011-2012, the value of that relationship was up 16% on the year before, so it's doing well. This year, as all the economists have been slightly disappointed with outturns in both India and the UK, it's down slightly. But our internal metrics, since we're ultimately in a consultancy sort of business, they relate to interactions of companies squaring up to doing business. Those numbers are up heavily. So business is very interested in how it can go forward, and let us trust, touch wood, when the economy gets better in both countries, that relationship will prosper markedly. The long-term prospects are very good. We have offices in 9 locations across India. We are seeking, when the right ministry in Delhi gives us the right permission, for that to grow to 14. But we have a good, solid team here in Pune under Suhasini Koloska. So I want you to feel we're out there wherever you are across the country, but we are here in Pune. Let me say, I'm sure many of you know bits about the UK. Let me give some headlines for those who know less. It's the 7th largest economy in the world, the 6th largest manufacturing nation in the world. UK government policy for a generation and more, for 40 years, has been that the UK should be, of the large economies in the European Union, the easiest to do business in. There is external validation for that. World Bank surveys confirm it. The Organisation for Economic Cooperation and Development says there are the fewest barriers to entrepreneurship in the UK of any OECD country. And that has been the priority of governments regardless of which party is in government. So personally, I would bank on that continuing. India and Indians play a strong part in that. The biggest minority group, as far as we can identify from government statistics, people with dual nationality or who've come from a foreign country, the biggest minority group in the UK is Indians. On most estimates, 4% plus of the UK population. Almost all thriving and extremely positive in what they contribute to the UK, so very, very welcome. What are the particular strengths of the UK economy? Well, I have a list which is embarrassingly long. We try to do lots of things. You'll see on TV the traditional pictures, you know, the Queen, beefeaters, architecture, landscape. We also want to draw your attention to things such as are on our banners behind me. High-tech, robotics, creative industries like Wallace and Gromit. Whoever would have thought that plasticine could be the basis of worldwide success? Well, it can. Our longer list of industries in which the UK is successful include, and forgive me if I look at my notes since I'm going to list, advanced engineering, the creative sector, ICT, defence and security, business and commercial services including everything from fast-moving consumer goods to the luxury sector, financial and professional services, infrastructure, education, health, life sciences, environmental services, environmental remediation and water. To spell that out in terms of things people use and things people do, if you use ordinary medicines, ordinary painkillers, things like that, chances are you're benefiting from research done in the UK. If you use a mobile phone, almost any, the majority of the world's current mobile phones, whether it's an iPhone, an HTC phone, a Samsung phone, whatever, chances are there's British microchip technology in there. And I was going to say that in the abstract until I met at the coffee break a gentleman in the audience who used to work for the British company involved, which is ARM, ARM. So I will give a plug to ARM, but also to Imagination Technology, which grows on the sorts of things ARM has done and is, you're now working with Apple and other world-class companies. So UK very strong in those technologies. And aircraft. If you ever fly, most of the aircraft in service in the world, whether it's a Boeing or an Airbus, the UK has the world's second biggest aerospace sector. So whether it's engines or airframes or avionics or control systems, there's a certain amount of British technology keeping you in the air. So there we are, things that feed through to everyday lives. That's all big headlines, and I know that's a long way removed from the everyday struggle of running a company, particularly when a company is new. Entrepreneurship is hard. Okay, I'm a career diplomat, I don't run a company, but I've dealt in a range of countries with people who do, and everyone agrees running companies is hard. Starting companies is very hard because most of them are not successful. But there is no successful company out there that didn't start with a blend of creativity and toughness, persistence. Personally, speaking as a diplomat, I want to salute all the efforts you make and to say we, the British government, want to encourage that mindset wherever it is in the world. Why? Well, I've worked in difficult countries as well as comfortable countries. India is a comfortable country. Countries which trade together don't fight each other. It's a good thing. So international business helps the world. It creates wealth, it creates jobs, it gives people through your products better lives. It makes the world a better place. And on that basis, I salute all you do. I'd like to end by telling two stories which I hope are inspirational. I've been, during the course of today, around Pune, making calls on companies. I've been to two very large factories. And one is a British company investing in India, the other is an Indian company which also is investing very successfully in the UK. So I want to hark back to their origins, because every big company was a small company once. The first of those companies, the factory I went to this morning, was founded in 1945 by a Brit. And he thought the trailer that he had hitched to the back of his tractor wasn't